Farías. Ya, puedes
Sí,
hablar.
hola, César. ¿Cómo
Claro.
estás? Eh, este, am, ¿Sí me puedes oír?
Sí, te oigo.
Ok, no está muy alto porque estoy en el gimnasio.
Ah, bien.
Am, Mira, apenas te conocí. Me estaba mirando un video de Lisa Kearns y, y estaba hablando de ti, diciendo que eres uno de sus maestros. Am, entonces nomás te miré en YouTube y miré unos videos bien breves. Pero lo que ha oído ahorita me ha ayudado mucho en entender qué es la conciencia, ese vacío, ah, porque no lo puedes hallar, no es un objeto. Um, y he gastado mucho tiempo en tratar de hallarlo, en saber, como estaban hablando, es como ese espacio vacío que no lo vas a encontrar porque eres tú, um, tú eres lo que buscas. Um, no sé si tengo pregunta, lo que estoy buscando es claridad, es cómo puedo ser ese espacio, ah, pero al mismo tiempo ser la persona, porque es como un juego, es como estás jugando el juego, pero al mismo tiempo estás mirando el juego. Mm,
Ambos, pero solamente conoces el aspecto, digamos, ilusorio, físico, material de ti mismo. ¿Me sigues?
claro,
Ahora, en el sueño profundo, aquello a lo que te refieres como algo no existe, ¿cierto?
dices la persona que creo que soy y todo lo que experimento en lo que es la persona no existe. Lo único que existe es lo que lo está experimentando, lo está viendo.
Y eso eres tú mismo, porque uno es el que habla en la vigilia y dice, no había nada en el sueño profundo.
Ok,
Todo desaparece excepto yo. Y todo aparece excepto yo. Yo soy aquello que ni aparece ni desaparece. Así que es permanente, constante, que existe ininterrumpidamente.
ok. Pero ¿cómo? Porque lo que es, lo que estoy pensando, mirando, es, es como, estás hablando como no tener memoria, vivir sin memoria.
No, no vas a perder la memoria, la capacidad de pensar o sentir. Simplemente que no está activa todo el tiempo, como cuando sucede en la presencia del ego. ¿Me sigues?
¿Lo puedes repetir?
Esa fue la pregunta, se me olvidó.
No, es que dijiste algo allí, no entendí muy bien. Ah, sé el español, pero no sé todas las palabras,
No me
cómo
acuerdo.
explicarlo, pero
Esa es la maravilla de esto, que ni siquiera me acuerdo de la respuesta que te di. Ah, sí, no es pérdida de memoria, no pierdes la memoria, no pierdes la capacidad de pensar o de sentir. ¿Mm? Pierdes la identificación con todo eso. Si hay ego, estás pensando constantemente en algo o en alguien o en ti mismo. Si no hay ego, no.
oh, ego, ok,
Ego, ya.
ok.
¿Hablas otro idioma?
Sí, inglés.
Pero hablamos en inglés si se te hace más fácil.
Um, Okay. Yeah, so I understood. Yeah, I understood what you said. So basically what you're saying is it's 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 about thinking less of yourself. It's about not being in thought so much, not having a self-image of yourself,
You
and
are,
being more.
see, for the sake of explanation, you are the thought, the seer of the thought, which is the thinker of the thought, and that which sees all that. That which sees the seer and the sin.
Mhm. and
Because it
and
is,
that's the.
because it is more subtle than the seer and the sin, it's difficult to perceive. And the trap is that I'm expecting to experience it, to know it objectively. So I
Mhm.
never know it because it is what I am. So to know it is to be it, is to know oneself as what cannot be known.
Okay. Well, a thought that's coming up, and I've had this a lot, is how can you be something that you can't? You know you're it, like I know it, but how can you be something that you can't see or
Now,
experience?
you believe you know it, or by logic, you get to the conclusion that you know it. Because if you really know it, the question will simply not arise. This conversation will never take place.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I wouldn't have the question if I
Actually,
was actually being.
if I have no doubt that I am that, what is the question about experiencing that, knowing that? How come I am this and that simultaneously? Because when you know that you are that, then you will not conceive anything as separate from that, or united with that, or one with that, but that itself. See? That's the meaning of non-duality. Hmm?
Yeah. So what would be pulling me away from that?
All that,
What
sorry?
Yeah, what would be pulling me away from that knowing? Because it seems like that there's thoughts, or there's doubt, or there's fear that comes up, and it pulls me away from that knowing. So is it like staying in that space longer?
Can you say the last part?
Yeah, is it about staying in that space, in that knowing longer?
Who is going to stay in that? And why should you stay in yourself? Be yourself. Because we believe to be the ego, okay? At the beginning, it seems that the ego is aware of that. Hmm?
Mhm. Yeah.
Eventually, I become aware of the fact that I am that which is aware of the ego. Without that, the ego cannot be. In fact, the ego is a reflection, right, of the self, as it is the reflection in the mirror of your face. Now,
Mhm.
how can the image in the mirror know the body that it is standing in front of it, right? Because of the help of the mirror, I can see myself reflected there. But to be myself or to know myself, I don't need the mirror. Because if I am out of the, if I turn around, okay, from the mirror and walk away from the mirror, still I am, right? And still I know that I am.
Mhm.
Make sense?
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. I don't think I've ever heard it like that, but that's yeah. You can only be it, and you can only know it, and
To know,
there's nothing.
exactly. To
There's
know,
nothing you.
yeah. Go on.
Yeah, there's nothing that I can do because I'm already it. So
Exactly.
yeah.
We are always that, but we are not always aware of being that. Why? Because
Mhm,
we think that we are something else.
mhm. And it's all just imagination. It's just all ideas,
Yes.
right? Just okay. Yeah.
I am the body is an idea. I have the idea that I am the body. I have this idea, this thought, this belief that I am the body.
Mhm. Yeah, that's why I said, is it about staying in that space and not knowing space? But it's yeah, you can't stay in that space because you are the space. You are the
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think I'm good right now. At least for now. I'll yeah, this has been really helpful. Thank you, Sheila.
You're welcome. Where are you from?
I'm from California,
Mhm.
but my parents are from Mexico, so
No,
por eso puedo hablar español.
California is supposed to be Mexico.
Yeah, yeah. Are you you're from Venezuela?
Yeah, I'm from Venezuela.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Very happy to have found you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you. Gracias.
We have to slowly the practice of understanding of me dice que les diga que tiene un gato y ya me lo filtraron, me lo pasaron sin filtro el gato. Oh, please. Okay. Entonces, uno tiene que, mientras más claro tenga ya el conocimiento, ¿verdad? O la enseñanza, lo que se quiera decir. Y eso es cuando yo pongo atención al conocimiento y empiezo a darme cuenta que si pongo atención sin tratar de entenderlo, entonces puedo ver a ese conocimiento reflejándose dentro del campo de mi propio conocimiento directo. Fíjese.
Sí.
Y la indagación, la autoobservación, autoatención, self-awareness, y paying attention to oneself makes everything even more clear. So I started speaking in Spanish because my son fan of the group. So. More clear I understand this, easier to become to right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because in deeper sleep, this is the beautiful thing about the analogy of or the point of reference of deep sleep, right? There is no body, there is no mind, there is no word, there is absolutely nothing. How do I know? Right? Because I am present, right?
You're saying that we're present in when we sleep.
Yeah.
We're just not
Aware of
aware or
exactly. In deep sleep, we are aware of being present, right? But we are not aware of being present. I don't know if that makes sense.
it doesn't make it doesn't make sense, but I get it. I think I get it.
Exactly. Because in the awakening state, how can I say, okay, I don't exist in deep sleep? If you don't exist in deep sleep, who is the one that knows that it doesn't exist in this? So you must be even present to deny your own non-existence in deep sleep.
Exactly. Exactly. I was going to say that it kind of sounds
Exactly.
like we're always present. Like right now, I'm always present, but I can think that I'm not present.
Then we are both the reality and delusion. See, we are,
Yeah.
and yet, this is very subtle. This is abstract, perhaps for many, and yet I arise as an ego. See,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a paradox, right?
exactly. So
Okay.
this is why. Okay, I may understand this clearly intellectually because it makes sense and intuitively. Okay, fantastic. But then I have to directly know it.
Yeah.
Now, in the awakening state, I say everything disappears. How do I know? Because I was present. So I must be that which is present in the absence of everything, right? And I must be that right now also. Hmm?
Yeah.
The person that said so, isn't it? It is the same I. So
Yeah.
I must be that now because of the appearance of the illusion, right? Which is the mind. The mind is not only thought, it is also perception, energy, and whatever, anything else, right? So
You said
the
sorry, you said the mind is not just thought.
yes, the mind is also perception, the world.
Okay.
The thing is that we know, we're borrowing this knowledge from ancient knowledge, right? And the actual knowledge limits the mind only to thought, intellect, ego, memory, which is also, of course, knowledge, and desires, which is also based on knowledge. I cannot desire something that I don't know. Tendencies and all that stuff. So this is what we call mind. The mind is collectively the totality of the awakened state, see, the totality of the manifestation.
Okay. So
Or
to
the totality of fusion is we like to use that word.
okay. So to simplify that, the mind is everything that we can possibly experience,
Correct.
and we are just
And the
the
experience
knower.
and the experiencer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because
So I'm what's experiencing the mind body, but I'm not the experience. I'm the experiencer.
exactly, you are the very consciousness of the experiencer and the experiences.
Okay. Okay.
The object and the object appear in the awakened state, disappears in deep sleep. Therefore, the consciousness that remains is neither a subject nor an object, means it must be simply as it is, right? It can be described. Consciousness can be described as conscious, right? Or awareness, or what sees, if we may use that word. Let her get close to see what she does. As long as she doesn't. Well,
She doesn't.
they will get used to it.
They're getting used to it. Before she did them.
It's the mind that sees something, right?
Yeah.
Whether as itself or the other. No. The mind sees always something, right? But
Yeah.
consciousness sees nothing but itself, right?
Can you elaborate a little bit on the consciousness only sees itself? Like what is that experience? Is that like you're not
First,
describing what you're seeing?
consciousness is self-aware. But from consciousness point of view, okay, there is nothing separate or united, right? The illusion, if you perceive it as separate from consciousness, you call it illusion, world, manifestation, phenomenon, etc., right? If you don't perceive illusion as separate from consciousness, it is consciousness.
So consciousness would be the experience. Like it's a no thing that is experiencing everything, and like you said, there's no separation, or I mean, you said unity. I don't.
I would say there are not two. Okay?
Okay.
There is no another name for consciousness is reality, right?
Yes.
It is called real because it is permanent, unchangeable, unaffected, and so on, right? Because what appears and disappears, what kind of reality is that now is present and then it is absent? So, the illusion and the reality are one and the same. This is non-duality. They are not two, right?
Yeah.
If they are not two, how can we speak about separation or unity? Since there is no other, right, that can be
Yeah.
separated or united from consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Jealousy. No? Okay, let's put it in this way. Just say, well, there is a finger, there's another finger, there is a hand, there is an arm, there is the hair. If you see it, can you see that it is divided in two? The body is divided in two into subject and object, known and unknown.
Yeah.
Right? I don't see my hand, I see nothing but myself. You can't divide the body in parts, okay? And say this is the hair and this is the nose and this is the ear and all that. There is only one body, there is only one self, and it is the totality of it.
So the only separation comes in the labeling.
It's mental.
Okay.
It's the mind that splits into two. What is the first thing that you know when you wake up? I am. Right?
Yeah, when I wake up, I know that I am.
But the one that is waking up is not you as consciousness. The one that is waking up is you as the mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you as the mind wake up or appears, the world appears, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's why we identify with the mind and the ego.
Exactly. It is the mind and then identifies itself. All that is the mind, right?
Yeah.
Then the mind identifies itself as the body and say, I am this body, right? And there is the world. See? And whatever it creates the idea that this is a perceiver, and that there is I am a person, see, I am an individual entity, and whatever I perceive or I know it as if it is external to me, separate to me, different from me.
Yeah, wow, that's profound. That's it's not consciousness doing that, right? You're saying it's the mind that's identifying as the character.
That will be a very misleading concept, and it is very famous nowadays that consciousness becomes all this, and that the consciousness remain exactly as it is always. Ignorance is within the mind, and is the mind. And
you said consciousness is the mind?
In a way, yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So Because I know, yes, consciousness doesn't identify. It
No?
can't. It's
Yeah.
not a thing.
Wait,
But
but
there's something that is identifying.
there must be a stupid consciousness. It's like to say that the supreme intelligence at some point begins to suffer from ignorance. So ignorance is mental,
Mhm,
thought.
mhm.
In deep sleep, there is mind. In the dream state, there is mind and the world, a different one, right?
Yeah.
The mind, when creates illusion and identify itself with each individual form of the illusion, that identification is what covers the reality. If the mind loses the identity with the body, then the reality is revealed, right? As oneself. See, it becomes obvious, I am that. And when I know I am that, then I know everything else I am also, right? So we
Yeah.
know only our illusory aspect, is to put it in that way. But we don't know one's reality, see, what we actually are. Hmm?
Mhm.
You like to say, I know the image in the mirror, okay, but I don't know myself, which is from which the image itself depends on.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a feeling that the consciousness that we are is like empty, where we think that it's empty of everything, that it's like
It can be empty. If it is empty, it is nothing.
yeah, it's nothing. There's no experience, so
That
we
word,
feel lost.
that word empty is also misleading because it is alive. It must be alive and it must be intelligent and it must be aware or conscious, and it is awareness or consciousness itself.
Mhm.
So the word empty perhaps maybe using in the sense that it is empty of name, form, characteristic, attributes, and so on, right? Because it is formless. See,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's empty of form, it's formless. And yet it is. And again, and yet it is intelligent, and yet it is consciousness. And it is I. In deep,
Is there
in deep sleep, I exist. So I must be that, right? We go gradually by logic or intuition, eventually directly.
is that emptiness? Is there a feeling that we have? Is there I know you were talking earlier about consciousness is energy, it's a vibration,
No,
but
energy is not consciousness. Energy is not vibration. If it is a vibration, it's known and it has a quality.
so then
The, vi- the
what is
vibration
consciousness?
the vibration arises from consciousness. It wakes up. In deep sleep, that very vibration is sleeping. It may be redundant, but and this energy wakes up, and when it wakes up, it creates this this sense of self, sense of being, right? A conscious self. But this conscious self is a reflection of consciousness. Hmm?
So
And it
consciousness is not feeling anything.
cannot
Like
be,
this is
cannot be. If it is the absolute observer, the absolute knower, cannot be known as a feeling or as something, right? Because it is nothing. So that energy in deep sleep, in this school, we call it, it is in a causal state. It's the cause of the appearance of the effect of the manifestation. The manifestation is the effect of that movement, but cause and effect are one and the same. So in deep sleep, that energy is in a latent, dormant, potential state in its causal form. Okay, it begins to vibrate. It wakes up. Is that what wakes up? Not consciousness. Consciousness is conscious. It's neither sleeping or awake. It's the illusion that is awakened or sleeping or dreaming. In fact, the illusion suffers those, goes through all these three states: awakened state, dream state, deep sleep. So who wakes up, dream, and sleep is that power. See? Call it illusory power, is separable from the self. Call it Shakti, Kundalini, undifferentiated energy, imaginary power, illusory power, call it whatever you like, right?
Mm-hmm.
When it begins to vibrate and see, wakes up, it brings with it everything else. The first thing that manifests, okay, is this conscious self, right?
Yeah.
Which is misunderstood as consciousness, right? When this conscious self, when the I appears, right, the world appears.
Yeah.
And then this I identifies itself as the body. And there is
You
forget.
said it's just,
Huh?
sorry, and you said the mind, the ego, the sense perception is just a reflection of consciousness.
Yes.
Okay.
The conscious self is the reflection of consciousness.
Mhm.
And yet they are identical, see, because they are not two.
Yeah. So then what would,
Or it's like
sorry,
this analogy that has been given for centuries, right? The ocean and the wave, right? The
yeah,
wave that rises in the ocean is not different from the ocean. It's identical to the ocean. It is the ocean, right?
yeah,
Not two. Only one ocean, right?
yeah.
And how can you reunite the wave from the ocean? If they were never separate, how can you put together that was not separate in the first place? Because they were never two. That's Advaita, not two, non-duality.
Yeah.
Another
Yeah.
way,
No, this is
that people find it always very abstract. See, there is a jar that is made out of mud, right? If you see the jar, you don't see the mud. But if you see the mud, you don't see the jar.
Mhm.
So if you see yourself as consciousness, you see nothing there. Means nothing there, different, separate from yourself. See, only yourself. Because how can the mud see the jar if it is the jar? And the jar is the mud. Cannot see anything, right?
Yeah, most people say that consciousness is love. How would we experience love through the body, right? The mind body.
Love is that quality. Love is that knowledge itself. But who is the experiencer of love cannot be true, right? But self-knowledge is love. For no other than oneself, because there is nothing else but one thing. People say so many things. The question is, do they know what they are talking about? And when they say such things and make an interpretation of that knowledge, is an interpretation, or is the interpretation correct, adequate, or not? See, in the majority of the cases, as far as I'm concerned, it produces more confusion than the confusion that already exists. So these people are teaching basically their confusion and confusing more those who are already confused.
Yeah.
Consciousness doesn't become, it's like the screen in the cinema show. Does the screen become the projection? Cannot, isn't it? The screen remains as it is, even if you cannot see it because it is covered by the projection, right? Or take a glass of water with a couple of drops of blue ink. Oh, the water became blue. It didn't become anything. If you take a sample and put it under a microscope or whatever measuring tool, it still is H2O. See, it remains exactly the same. It hasn't become anything, changed anything. Nothing changed at all. It remains unchangeable and unaffected by whatever it is covering it. You see, the screen doesn't get wet because you project the sea, or doesn't get burned because you project fire, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't suffer because there is war, or is not enjoying the pleasure if there is a, I don't know, fantasy land projecting in the Disneyland or whatever. It remains unaffected. That is the only description of consciousness, means it cannot be described. Nameless, formless, characteristic-less, attribute-less, right? It doesn't subject changes or modification. All what I'm saying is I cannot say anything about it. That it simply is, right? And it is unaffected, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only thing that is being affected is identification with the mind body. Right.
And it is apparently only because it's thought, right?
Okay.
It is only a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Since it is a source, if it is an illusion, so in reality, such thing is not even there. It appears to be there, but it's not really there.
Yeah. Yeah, this is deep. This is
In reality, it's very simple. So we have too many preconceived ideas that are deeply rooted. So this simple knowledge, clear knowledge, will basically delete all this wrong knowledge. We call it wrong knowledge or wrong ideas or misconceptions or misinterpretations. Right? So more clear this becomes, easier to realize it. And to realize it, all what you heard and read, even if it is clear, has to be put aside, at least pause it for a second and be completely, totally mentally still.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, César.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Anytime.